as an engineer, as a designer, no, of course, this is reflected. But I understand when you are looking at the colossal structure, you go to, for example, the design in Dubai and in many other sophisticated cities. Some of the design are coming from other parts of the world. Of course, is structured according to the culture of the people. You, you know, I'm saying that there are usually the idea behind how the city is designed. Or it's not just this is my okay. I understand. I have a certain saying how my look is going to be, but it's going to be at the end of the day in line with what the government already decided. This is the identity of this place in terms of how it look and all that. Uh, if you were to be in charge of the redesigning of the Nigerian infrastructure, say the building, only the building this time, we're not talking about the bridges and what is going to be the combination. What do you think is relevant to see building of housing in this case so that you look at it and say, okay, that is a Nigerian type of house?
Yes, this is a very good question. Not only Nigeria and not even only Africa, but almost every country around the world is integrating. If you look at the Dubai, as you gave as an example, yeah, okay, if you look at the Burj Al Khalifa, I don't think it follows uh, any of their culture, but Burj Al Arab actually follow the I mean a boat like this thing, which probably is their culture. I don't know, but the world is integrating. People do things nowadays from experience they gain from other places, and in as Nigerians, you know, because of our diversified culture, you can hardly say this is the culture we should follow. Now, if you want to design Abuja now, for example, which is the the capital, yes, of Nigeria. Now, which culture are you going? Which pattern are you when you have the diversified culture? A lot of people, and each and everyone has its own particular and specific culture. So, in terms of using culture to make a plan or design, I don't think that is viable here. However, as we talk, there are plans everywhere, most especially for important cities. The problem is implementation. People don't really follow it. That is why you observe that when Erufai was the minister of FCT, a lot of demolitions were done. And even here now, also in Kaduna, forcing people to follow the plan. He is not doing anything new, but plan is on ground, but people do whatever they want. They don't only build whatever they want, they even encroach into government land. You will see a road, a very small road, but originally the road is very wide, but people have taken over, they built houses on the road. So that is why you see most of this building demolition going on. In terms of, town planning, I observed, I attended several conferences in Abuja, and when the town planners are talking, they always complain about deviation from the master plan. Many cities in Nigeria have their master plans, but implementation is a problem. I think government is shy from holding people responsible or forcing people to do the right thing. That's just the problem. But do we have master plan? Yes, we have.
Okay, that's where I was going. Because, how can you have a house, like I was saying before, you are some meters away on top of a city in Europe, say maybe in Switzerland or in Belgium or in Germany, you see that all the houses have a certain look. It's because there is a plan they are following. It's not because I just like the way you do it there, I just do my own like you. No, there is a plan. You want to build a house in this city, this is how it look like. Of course, you can have the certain twist inside, but there is a plan. If there is no plan, that it cannot fall into place. Because I believe that those who design city, they first of all imagining how it will look. They do a lot of verification. Of course, you are an expert in this area. You need to test different things before you then say, okay, this is how it's going to look. That is going to look. It's only in your head, but then you materialize it by the time you start putting it into place. Somebody cannot just jump in from nowhere and then say, okay, I'm going to build a big road across here. How can you build a big road across here when there is a plan? So that's why actually I was going there in the terms of, because if you don't have a master plan, like for example, Abuja was planned. I want to believe Abuja was actually planned on. The way the house, even the color, we can already see it. Because if you then come and start putting zigzag things there, it doesn't fall into plan. It doesn't become beautiful. It doesn't. The reason that is a plan is so that it can be fine. It can be coherent. Some of the earlier European visitors to ancient Benin said that the street was straight line, which means it was planned. This is ancient city. So I don't understand why people are not obeying the plan. Is it because the government is so weak, so they are not able to even implement their own plan, or because the people are too powerful? What is really happening there? So that the law is, they are not obeying the master plan to make sure that we have a coherent city, a way that things should function.
Yes, in fact, this is a very good observation. You see, as I say, there are plans, and although we must also make it clear that the plans we have are for new settlements. You know, the old settlements, of course, they have been there and they've been built anyhow. There are no plans for them. But for new settlements, like the new areas, the GRAs, and like Abuja now, you know, Abuja is a new district that was well planned. But even on the outskirts, of course, I'm not sure if the plans cover those areas. But if you say what is the reason people don't follow plans, I think there are several factors that are responsible for this. Number one, of course, the governments have the plan, but have they communicated this plan to the people? Who are responsible for selling lands? What are the consequences? I mean, what are things expected of a land buyer to do before the land can be sold to them or before they can start their construction? What has the government put on ground to make people understand that there is plan and there is consequences for not following the plans? Is the government even aware of new buildings taking places? I mean, being built in places where we have the master plans. So these are the factors that normally cause them. You observe that not that the government is that weak, because if they want to do it, I'm telling you, they will do it. Everybody has been doing it here in Kaduna, and you don't even you don't see anybody resisting because they know they were wrong. They know they were wrong. But I don't know. I'm not a politician, but I think our government are more concerned about what the people will do to them when they come for another campaign. So they don't want to touch them much. And you observe that the person, even the ones that normally do this kind of enforcing the law, they normally do it during their second term when they know they are no more coming back. I think political interest is a big factor in terms of this. And also the political will for the government itself to follow the plan, because some government officers also, you wonder if they really know what they are doing. So these are the factors in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. That is a very important factor, Mr. Salahudeen. Now, you see, not following the plan is what lead to what we discussed before in the first part of this episode, where somebody who say, I want to build 5-story building, 6-story building, and end up building a 21-story building. And the consequence of that is that you have a disaster. Now, because when people like you, expert, engineering, sit down to design a city, you are not just looking at only putting up structure, houses, and all that. You are considering also the seaway. Where is the water going to flow to? Where are there going to be agricultural area where people can farm? What about industrial area where people can work? What about residential area? All these are put into consideration, and I've not yet listed all. If we just buy land and put whatever you like there, if everybody do what they like, then we are going to be having confusion. So that is where I think the government must be very clear, exactly what need to happen. Not only in your own tenure of 4 or 8 years. The plan is not for administration. The plan is for the people. The plan is something, because if it is a good plan, it's going to last for hundreds and even thousands of years. If you are so selfish that, okay, I'm just so that I can get popularity, I can get vote, you are just deceiving the people. Because the plan, the design of Abuja is not for administration. We are looking at the future of a country, the history of a country. There is a reason behind it. So you cannot just jump in from nowhere and say you want to build a poultry in the middle of a place that was supposed to be reserved for sewage, or that was supposed to be reserved for other things. You see, this is why I think it is really important that all of us, we need to look at this as something that is critical. It is important. We're looking at our development of infrastructure. Okay, another thing related to this infrastructural development is, do you think it would make sense that the way we design infrastructure should sometimes reflect our history, where we are coming from, the empires, the kingdom that have existed in our places? I'm not saying we should copy what is happening in Kano and go and implement it in Benin. If we are designing the city of Kano, then if it is a plan, that is a master plan, that it must reflect somehow the people that have been there for the last 1,000 years, so that when we are talking of the empire that have come to that place, we don't just imagine it. We see a semblance of representation of the people that have been there. Maybe not exactly the way they have structured their house, but at least we can think of it and will help us to understand what has happened in that place before. Help me with that.
Thank you very much. I want to start with the issue of following the plan. You see, not only that we don't follow plan, also, but in fact, even when the government built the infrastructures, let's say the buildings, and of course you expect them to follow the plans, and they give it out to people, putting those buildings into use is another problem. You will see a residential building being rented out to a school. A building, a 2-bedroom flat that is that is originally built for a single family of, let's say, because of our Nigerian factor, let's say 10, is being used for school. 2-story building, a 2-bedroom flat, a parlor and 2 bedrooms. In each of these bedrooms, they will put 20 pupils there. In the parlor, maybe 40 or 50. So not only that we don't follow the plan, and we don't also follow the usage. This is where collapse of building also has emanated as a result of the use of the building. Because when you want to build a residential house, there are factors you use which are completely different from those you use when you are building a religious place. For example, where people will dance, or in short, where people will cause vibration. So when you build a residential house and it is being used for vibration, you expect nothing but a deformation of the structure, and in the end, either tilting or extremely collapse. So we don't, not only that we don't follow the plan, even the use is another problem. And I think if government can enforce people to use building for what they are designed for, it will also reduce the rate and frequency of building collapse. There's one religious building that collapsed in Lagos some years back. There's another one of recent, not up a year now, that collapsed, I think in Benin or so. I'm not sure. So those ones are due to usage. They were not built for vibration, and they were put them into use for vibration activities. Okay, now when it comes to the issue of putting our building in place according to our structure, I mean, our culture. Well, I don't think that is being considered now. What we have, to the best of my knowledge, what people do, even the master plan, I don't think the master plan consider any culture. Any culture. I don't think so. I don't think the master plan consider any culture. The ones I have seen, nothing like that. So individuals also, you go for your PhD in London, you see how they build their buildings there. You come back, you gather some money you want to build also. Of course, that's what you tell the architect to do. That is exactly the position we are now today. You see what entices you, you do it. That is where we are.